both sides of the conversation, family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to Both Sides of the Conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Thursday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another phenomenal presentation tonight. We have a phenomenal sister coming on to bless our community with some much-needed information as we are 14 days away from this recall election. Very, very important stuff. So please, community, listen up as we continue to intentionally educate our community and make sure that they have the information and resources needed. So I'm just excited to see tonight's presentation for community. With that being said, I want to go ahead and jump into some of our announcements and cover some of the things that's happening in the community before we start tonight's presentation. But before we do that, I just want to say the community out there, I know everybody been seeing the hurricane situation. Our communities have been impacted from New Orleans all the way up to New York and New Jersey. So many people are being impacted by the hurricane. So I hope everybody is out there, doing their part to just pray for these families. If you can donate and support some of the donation drives that's going on to help our people, as we know we are being impacted all over, especially in this time of COVID. So please keep those families and communities in our prayers as we move forward. Just very, very important stuff for us all to do. With that being said, also for community, just want to say we have a lot of community members and community leaders that are doing phenomenal work, that are dealing with all kinds of stuff that sometimes we don't even know and can imagine. Right now, we are just dealing with a lot in our community. So please think about those in need, reach out to a loved one, show some support, show some love, because right now everybody is overwhelmed and exhausted. I think the mental fatigue is real in our community. So definitely check in with our loved ones, check in with our elders. There are so many seniors and community spaces that are talking about they feel left out. Community's not there to support them, a number of different things. So let's just do our part as community, show some love, keep those families in their prayers, and make sure you check on some of those people that you say you love, because you never know what people are going through. And, I'm just always be in touch when I hear different stories that impact our community and some of the folks that we love so much in our community. So I'm just going to keep praying and doing my part, but you do yours as well. With that being said, this Saturday, for all that's trying to come out and support community, you all know every Saturday we have a monthly homeless feed that we have with the City Eats. This Saturday is the first Saturday. We will be out there at 164 6th Street from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with the City Eats, 164 6th Street. If you're available, you want to volunteer, please go to thecityeats.org, sign up as a volunteer, come out and support. They are still looking for donations and support from community. So if you like to bring waters or donate anything, hygiene packs, PPE, please bring it out to the event. They can use that support. And I want to give a huge shout out to Collective Impact. Brother James over there was so gracious to donate masks and PPE gear today. So I'm able to have that for this weekend as well. But definitely, if you have any items that you feel that we could use to give to the community and those in need, please do bring it up. Very important stuff this week as we go and bless our community again another month. Also, September 7th, next Tuesday, 100% College Prep will be having their 2021 mixer at 1201 Mendale Street. So all of the families out there who have seniors, juniors, high school kids who are getting ready to transition and get ready for college, they have their mixer where they'll be convenient with community and signing those young people up and making sure that they have all of the tools and support that they're going to need and maybe could join 100% College Prep. So that will be this Tuesday from 4 to 7 p.m. 1201 Mendale Street. Please go out there and shout out to Diane Gray and all the amazing work that they're doing for our community and making sure that our young people are getting the tools and information that they need to be ready for college and helping them with scholarships. Phenomenal program, phenomenal work that Ms. Diane's putting together over there to help our community. So please check it out. Yesterday was the end of the sign up for the Phoenix Day Block Party. If you missed it, it's too late. The registration was yesterday, but the block party will happen on October 17th from, I believe it's 11 to 4. I'll get the exact time, but it's the sundaystreetfair.com. Please go in there and take a look at that as we will be supporting and uplifting that block party for community. And that's very, very, very important. With that being said, here at both sides of the conversation, some of the things that we have coming up. Every week we have 3 live shows that we do. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. we have our Hidden Gem segment where we highlight our Black and brown businesses as well as community leaders that are doing positive things to impact our community. So every Tuesday we'll be in space for that. So if you know a business or you know somebody in the community that's doing something phenomenal, please make sure you go to our website and sign them up because we would like to get them on and get their information out to the community so that we can patronize those businesses and make sure that the community knows who they are and what they're doing so they can get community support. Every Thursday, we have our Educational Thursday, which is tonight, where we continue to intentionally get the information to the community. We have phenomenal presenters who come on and give our community gems. And next week, we'll be having another phenomenal presentation on entrepreneurship, multiple streams of income, teaching our community how to make money. So just excited about that as well. And then every Sunday at 2 p.m., we have our Sunday conversation where we will continue to have community conversations to create that dialogue and talk about some of the things that are taboo or sometimes stigma in our community so that we can start that healing process. So every Sunday we'll have it. This Sunday, I'll let everybody know by the end of the week about this Sunday show. Because this Sunday falls before a holiday weekend, we had a conversation on solidarity and language, and I think we're going to be moving that back just because of the number of participants who had to rearrange their schedules due to the holidays, always tight. But if we cancel, we'll replay last Sunday conversation, which was an epic conversation on relationships and how do we fix the broken relationships in our community. So be looking forward. We'll get the information out as we move forward. And then on the 12th, we'll be talking about our disability conversation part 2. If you missed it, part 1, we talked about some of the issues and struggles that people that have disabilities in our community are faced with, and we're going to try to connect them with the appropriate people to get that resource and information out. And then on the 19th, we're talking about community violence. As you all know, our communities have been hit with gun violence and different violence in our community. So we're going to have another part 2 conversation of that. And then at the end of the month, we're talking about voter suppression. This is real. It is happening across our country. So maybe our good sister tonight can connect us with some other people so we can talk about the importance of voter suppression, what that means for the Black and brown community. This is something that our ancestors community has fought for over the years to make sure that our voices are heard, and we don't want to let these laws that people are being passed in different states push our vote away, push our information away from community. So very, very important stuff. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close my mouth and bring up our guest to tonight. She is going to come on. Miss Eve is going to bless the community and give the community some much needed information. So with that being said, Miss Eve, you here? Hello.
Hello. So
All
let
right.
me go ahead and do the screen share.
All If you want to go ahead while you're getting it up, to let people know who you are and all that, that's fine too.
Certainly. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Eva Pena, and I'm one of the co-managers for the voter outreach team at the Department of Elections. I've been with the department now for almost 4 years, and this will be the sixth election that I get to serve and represent the city. So for me, it's an honor to be of service, to being of in community and to be a representative of the community. So I take my role as an ambassador very seriously for both representing the department and then as well as bringing the voice of the community to the leadership. So that way, we have equitable services for everybody. So with that. We have the presentation up. Thank you again. It really is a joy to be here to talk about the upcoming September 14th 2021 California Gubernatorial Recall Election. Because for this upcoming election, um, the topics that I'll focus on are now that the voter registration deadline has passed, can you still participate? Yes. So we'll talk about conditional voter registration as well as the registration qualifications because there was updates from recent law last year. Today's focus will be on reviewing what will be on the September 14th election ballot. And then, of course, here in San Francisco, unlike other places in this country, we do offer a wealth of voting options, language, and accessibility resources. So it'll be really exciting to share all of the real services available to voters to make voting as accessible, as easy as possible. So with that, I do want to talk about the registration deadline. So we've already missed the registration deadline to receive a vote by mail ballot. So for this election, all voters that were registered by August 30th would have automatically received a vote by mail ballot for the September 14th election. But it's not too late. If you are not registered to vote and you still want to participate, then you can register to vote. You just have to do so in person. So these opportunities are available, of course, here at City Hall. We're open every day now. So this will be the first weekend that we're open from 10 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. That's available for you. It's only 12 days away from the next election, so lots of opportunity to still vote early. And then, of course, though, if you want to wait for that excitement of election day itself, 588 polling places will be open from 7 in the morning to 8 p.m. here in the SCO. So to register to vote, the qualifications are that you're a United States citizen, at least 18 years old on election day, a current resident of California, and not currently in prison for a felony conviction, and not currently found mentally incompetent to vote by a court. So, of course, if you want to review your voter information, your voter registration information, that is, you can do so by giving us a call. 415-554-4375 is the number for the department, or also through our voter portal. So your voter portal is really a great opportunity for you to be able to see all of the status that pertains to you as a voter. You can visit that at sfelections.org/voter portal. And if you happen to be in other counties of California, I have resources for you as well. So you can go to voterstatus.sos.ca.gov to be able to access your voter portal information as well at the state level. So, voter registration rules are slightly different for people in certain special circumstances, which include our unhoused neighbors, voters involved in the justice system, voters in college or perhaps traveling, voters who need to remain confidential for personal security reasons as well. We will go over some of this information that pertains to such voters, and of course, you're invited to learn more by visiting sfelections.org/registration. Thank you. So when it comes to registering, if you happen to know someone who perhaps doesn't have a fixed address, um, so if someone doesn't have a permanent address, they can still register to vote, basically using the cross streets for the location where they spend the most time in. So in this example that we see on screen, you can see that this voter stays at the corners of California and Palm Street. So on the voter registration form, they would, on section 4, indicate those cross streets. So you don't have to have a physical address in order to register to vote. You can also use a homeless shelter, for example. And then on section 5, as far as mailing, a person can provide the Department of Elections a mailing address where they would like to receive their official materials. And this could either be like a P.O. box, a business address, or perhaps a shelter as well. So very important to note that you can still register and participate. So also, if, for example, you have some college students or you're going to find yourself traveling, what's important to note is that the residential address where a voter is registered does determine the contests and the candidates that do appear on the voter's ballot. So, for example, let's say that someone is going to be going to UCLA, but they happen to still want to vote for San Francisco contests. They can only register in one county only. But for example, they can have their mail sent over to their dorm. So in this example, if you happen to, be traveling as well, and you wanted to provide a mailing address that's in a different city, a different state, even a different country, you're able to do so too. You just can't be registered to vote in multiple counties or multiple places. So that's the important note there. And now I want to talk about the voters involved in the justice system. So in 2020, voters passed Proposition 17 in the November election, which amended the state constitution to allow otherwise eligible residents who are on parole to register to vote. Consequently, the only people who cannot register and vote because of being involved in the justice system then are those who are currently serving time for a felony, either in prison or in jail. Working with the San Francisco Sheriff's Department's Prisoner Legal Services Unit, the Department of Elections provides registration and voting services to people detained in San Francisco County Jail. So if you or someone you know would benefit from more information about these services, please feel free to use their number, Prison Legal Services, at 415-558-2472. As well as for voters who need to remain secure for personal security reasons. The Safe at Home is a program that's administered by the California Secretary of State's office, and this program offers victims of domestic violence, stalking, sexual assault, human trafficking, elder and dependent abuse, as well as reproductive health care workers, a safe substitute mailing address for the receipt of official election mail. If you or someone you know would benefit for more information about this program, the great resource here is the Secretary of State's number at 877-322-5227. So, how will you learn about what will be on the upcoming ballot? So, in mid August, all registered California voters received the State Voter Information Guide with information about the gubernatorial replacement candidates. And around the same time, San Francisco voters also received the local voter information pamphlet with a sample ballot and information about voting in the upcoming election. So it's important to note that you have also options here as a voter. If, for example, you wanted to see the voter guides in large print, if you wanted to hear the audio versions, perhaps you don't want to read through it, but you want to listen to it, these sorts of services are available by tapping into the voter portal at the local level, so sfelections.org/voter portal, or the voterstatus.sos.ca.gov at the state level. So lots of great resources. If, for example, you want to also opt out from receiving the print version and instead receive the digital version, that's also something that you can opt into. So it's important to note that perhaps if you know somebody or you yourself would benefit from seeing the information in larger print, we do have accessibility resources. So to see receive, for example, the voter information pamphlet in an accessible format, such as the large print, an audio cassette, a CD, thumb drive, or MP3 audio, that's available for you per request. So 415-554-4375 is going to be the best number number to give us a call to request these services. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of the presentation, which will talk about what will be on the September 14th election ballot. So the gubernatorial recall contest is the only contest on the September 14th election ballot, but it has two parts. So the first part will ask, shall Gavin Newsom be recalled, removed from the office of governor? And the second part will list the names of the replacement candidates. It's important to note that voters, this is where, it's important to note that you have the choice to vote either only in the first part, only in the second part, or in both parts. So whether you vote in one or both of the recall contest, you can only make one single selection. So for example, for us to be able to know your true intent, don't mark both yes and no for the first question, and don't mark more than one replacement candidates. It's also important to note that if, for example, you don't want to select a replacement candidate, it's something that you don't have to do. But if you wanted, for example, if most votes will end up saying determining that the governor will be recalled, then perhaps you might want to vote in the second part because you'd like to choose who the replacement candidate could be. So it's totally up to the voter to decide how you want to participate in this contest by voting only in the first part, only in the second part, or both. What's important to note too is that the recall contest, they'll be tallied independently. So for example, if there are more yes votes than no votes in the first part of the contest, then the candidate who receives the most votes in the second part will be elected as governor. So with that, let's get into more information about reviewing the voting options and the language and accessibility resources that the Department of Elections does offer. On August 16th, all voters started receiving, that are registered to vote, that is, started receiving the official vote by mail packet. So the official vote by mail packet contains not only your ballot, but as well as an instructional sheet, a postage paid returned envelope, and an I voted sticker. So if, for example, you are registered to vote and you didn't receive your ballot, you still can get a replacement ballot. So if, for example, you happen to move at the last minute, or you just happen to not receive the ballot at all, you're able to contact us at our office, or you can also put the request in through the voter portal. So that's sfelections.org/voter portal. And if you're registered to vote, you can request this replacement through September 8th. But what's also very exciting about this election, just like last election, so because of an executive order that Governor Newsom did put out at the beginning of the year, if there would happen to be an election this year, all voters would have access to the accessible vote by mail system. So the accessible vote by mail system is not online voting, but it is a portal where, for example, a person with a disability, the service people in the military are able to access to still cast their ballot. So it's also a great for any other voter too. For example, if you wanted to get your replacement ballot this way, you can tap in to the sfelections.org/access, and basically you would mark your ballot. You still have to print it out and mail it back. So in order for us to count it, you do have to mail it back. It's not online voting, but it is a way for you to be able to access that ballot online. So whether you use a ballot that has arrived in that vote by mail packet, or you use the ballot through the accessible vote by mail system, what is very important to remember is that you must return your ballot on time. So fill out your ballot, make sure that you put it into the envelope, make sure you seal and sign the envelope to make sure that we're able to count that. Your signature is really the driver. So very important if you're able to sign it, or if, for example, for some of our older voters that just have difficulty with their penmanship, they can put an X, so make their mark and have a witness sign it. So, but very important that this section of your ballot return envelope is signed. So what's important too is return it on time. So no later than September 14th, election day, for us to be able to count it. There are in-person voting resources. So, for example, as I've shared, the City Hall Voting Center is open. We're open every day now. We opened on August 16th, so lots of opportunity for voters to vote early. And actually, to date, we've already received ballots from 175,000 San Franciscans. So it's a very exciting time. Some people are definitely taking advantage of that early voting opportunity. So that's available for you. The hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Of course, the only exception is Labor Day. And then the weekend hours again, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And of course, on election day itself, will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's also very exciting to share that just for in our efforts to continue to bring equity to all of our voters, that for the second time, we will continue to have official ballot drop-off stations. We will have one station per each of the supervisorial districts here in the city and county of San Francisco, and those will open up starting September 11th, and as well the following days ahead of election. So lots of opportunities if you don't want to return your ballot on election day. You want to do it before. Here's another great resource that you have and you're able to take advantage of beginning September 11th. So, on election day itself, as well, here in San Francisco, we have polling places. So, 588 of these locations will be available for voters to have a convenient, close location to their home to be able to come and cast their ballot in person should they choose to. So they can surrender that vote by mail ballot and be able to get a ballot at their polling place. How do you know what your assigned polling place is? You receive that information through your voter information pamphlet. So the backside will have the exact location. It will have accessibility information such as slope, cross streets, lots of good information there for voters to be able to find their location. But as well, you can tap into those resources through sfelections.org/myvotinglocation. So polling places will also have availability to serve you starting from 7 in the morning to 8 p.m. on election day, September 14th. But let's say that you decided that perhaps you do want to return your ballot, just like 170,000 of our current voters have already returned it using a blue USPS mailbox. So it's great. You can use the mail. What's important to note, though, is that if you're going to wait until actual election day to return your ballot, make sure that you sign that last collection time, because if the last collection time happens to already have passed, even though it could be 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon on election day, your ballot could be late. So we encourage you to go ahead and just drop it off at either one of those 588 polling places, at one of those official ballot drop off locations, or the City Hall Voting Center. So lots of options, but if you did want to find the closest mailbox to you, USPS.com/locator is a great resource. So, just like we would track a package, you're able to track the status of your ballot, and you're able to do so through the voter portal, sfelections.org/voter portal. So you see exactly when the department receives your ballot back from you, when we check your signature, but most importantly, when we actually cast your vote. You can also call us at 415-554-4375 or email us at sfvote@sfgov.org. We're here to be of service to you. So definitely tap into the resources that are available and provided for you to empower you with the latest and greatest information. At the state level as well, the Secretary of State has the Where's My Ballot tool. So that's where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov. And this is a great resource if perhaps you want to sign up for either an email, a text, a voicemail alert. So that way you know exactly what the status of your ballot is. So again, a great service that you have to tap into so you know that current location of your ballot. And again, most importantly, when it's actually counted. Here in the city, we offer language resources. So lots of items that are available. So, for example, if you wanted to get your ballot in a different language, if you wanted to get your voting materials, that voter information pamphlet that we discussed in the city, we are required to provide voting materials in not just English, but Chinese, Spanish, and Filipino. So that's why perhaps if you're wondering, oh, I received my ballot, but it's in English and Chinese, that is the default. So we want to make sure that we have language services available to all of our voters who perhaps have that need. Similarly, all voting locations will also offer voters the touchscreen ballot. So then, if, for example, if there is a voter that wanted to hear the ballot instead of actually just marking it, perhaps for reasons of being blind, or any voter in general, really, it's not just for people with disabilities. You can tap into the ballot marking device. So the ballot marking device is a great resource too. For example, you'll also be able to review the ballot in a multilingual format. So not only in English, but it'll be available in Chinese, so Cantonese and Mandarin if you wanted to hear the audio, Spanish and Filipino. Great source too if, for example, you want to enlarge the font of that ballot, if you want to hear the audio, or if you want to change the contrast. So lots of great resources. If you happen to be a person with a disability, you can also connect to it. There's head pointers, sip and puffs. So lots of resources to make voting accessible, to make it private, to make it independent for you, as well as all in-person voting locations will also offer voters page magnifiers or pen grips. So, for example, if you need that extra support holding your pen or being able to enlarge that font, these tools are available for you, as well as requesting assistance from a poll worker. So, really, we want you to be able to vote privately and independently, but for some folks, perhaps they just need a little bit of additional assistance. That's available to you. You just let us know what level of service you'd like from us. It's also exciting to share that here in San Francisco, we do provide curbside services. So, for example, if you happen to be a person that is concerned about, maybe being indoors still, or would prefer to vote maybe from the comfort of your car, you're able to take advantage of that. You can request curbside service by either contacting the department at 415-554-4375, or even if somebody else is in the car with you or you're walking with someone else, you can have them come into the polling place, let them know, I'd like to vote curbside. They'll bring the roster of voters for you. They'll bring your ballot, so that way you can do that without necessarily having to enter the polling place. So lots of great resources here in San Francisco. If you did decide, though, that you wanted to vote in person and have not been vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus, the face coverings, so it is currently a city mandate. You do have to wear a face covering for indoor voting. We want to be able to protect public health. We also want to be able to provide the community with resources. So if you wanted to learn more about the COVID vaccine or where to get one, you can do so at sf.gov/get-vaccinated-against-COVID-19. And very exciting to share that there are opportunities to get involved and help your city vote while also earning some money. So the poll worker program is a great program. We are still looking for poll workers, so it's not too late if you want to participate. It's a 1 day of service. You do get a stipend up to $240. Could be the max pay. We are highly encouraging anybody who is interested in serving as a poll worker to get involved and contact us at sfelections.org/PWA. So it's not too late for this election, but as well, putting it in the radar. It's a great opportunity, 1 day of service, and you get, some money. There will be future elections that are programmed for next year. So definitely take advantage of this resource. Similarly, even though currently we're not hiring seasonal employees any longer to assist with these election tasks for the upcoming September 14th election, we always will have opportunities available for upcoming elections. So it's very important for us, again, to continue to share that we want a diverse, workforce, that we encourage you to get involved, to participate. So currently, you can also take advantage of our webpage, and sign up for job alerts for the future. As I mentioned, there will be a couple of elections coming up next year, so lots of opportunities there. But similarly, if you want to tap in now to other employment opportunities that the city offers, visit jobappscloud.com/sf for, again, a great resources for you to find some city employment. So, again, continuing to emphasize the bounty of services that San Francisco offers to make voting as accessible as possible for you. You have lots of options, if you are not able to necessarily make it out to the polls yourself. So, for example, you can return your ballot by mail. You don't have to go in person. That option is also there for you if you need it. But you can also authorize the ballot delivery, so you can have any body from your family or someone that you trust, just not an employer or a union representative, return that ballot for you or pick it up for you as well. You can access that online ballot, the accessible vote by mail system. That's available for you. You can even request emergency delivery. So, this is, for example, one of those great programs that we offer for people that perhaps end up at the hospital, or are homebound. Whatever the reason is, we want to make voting as accessible as possible for you, and we will provide that level of support from August 30th through September 14th. That's available for you, the request emergency delivery. And you can also authorize anybody else to return that ballot for you. So, just a bounty of services here in the city to ensure that you're able to vote in a way that you would prefer. With that, I mean, really, I would love to see if there are any questions that I might be able to answer. And of course, if you think of any questions down the line, our outreach team, really, we're small, but we're mighty. And we are so committed to ensuring that we're out there in the community, that we're helping disseminate this information, that we're able to be as supportive as possible to you as a possible registrant or as a voter yourself. 415-554-5685 is our phone number. We are available via email as well at sfoutreach@sfgov.org. So if you don't have a question now, but you think of something later on, please, by all means, feel free to give us a call or send us an email. We're happy to answer, your questions. And with that too, I want to continue to thank you for this opportunity to share this valuable information about the conduct of the upcoming September 14th election, as well. If I can be of service, if I can be a resource, my contact information is on the screen. Here I am, ready to answer your questions.
All right. Thank you. Great presentation. I think that was great information, straight to the point. Make sure everybody knew. It seems like there is a phenomenal amount of access and ways that you can get your vote out. Please, community, don't wait till the last minute. There are so many ways that you can get your vote out. If you feel like you want to be a part of this and make sure that your voice is heard, please do it up front and early, and make sure on election day, which is 12 days away. I said 14. It is 12 days away. So very important stuff. I just think that the information you provided was straightforward, and I'm glad you showed the recall information, because for some people, sometimes the way they word it, it can be very confusing, and people end up signing up and picking the wrong way that they wanted to go with the vote. So thank you for putting that out there. But when it comes to the support, I kicked it out. Oh, that was an accident. Everybody. We'll see if we can get Eva back on. That was an accident. Let's see if we can get Eva back on. That was an accident. I pressed something and my hand got tricky. Well, we'll try to see if we can get Eve back on here. That was me. I accidentally touched something and removed it from the studio. But I think that was great information. We'll see if she get back in here for a second. That was an accident by me. But with that being said, this Sunday, we have a conversation about solidarity and language. What does that look like in the community? We'll be letting the community know tomorrow evening if we'll have that conversation. We have got some feedback because of the holiday weekend. Some people will not be able to make it. So we'll have a discussion about that on Friday, and then we'll definitely replay if we have to the epic conversation that we had last Sunday on relationships. This Saturday, we will be out in the community. I'm so happy. I've been on quarantine. I've been down. I'm finally able to move, get back out in the community. I'll be out there with the City Eats. We'll make sure. There she go. That was me on both sides of the conversation. I accidentally pressed something. I was trying to move something over, and it kicked you out.
Technology, it happens.
No, it happened. That was on me. So I appreciate you coming back. But what I was going to ask you, for people who I know a lot of people were asking. I know you said that because it was a small election. I mean, it's just a recall election. A lot of the jobs and opportunity wasn't there. But for like media outreach in the future, for people to connect, how do they get connected with the some of the ads and different things of that nature? Is the way, is that through the election department, or that's out to the actual candidates? I know that was a question people was asking.
Oh, so that's a great question. So as far as it comes for the Department of Elections, we're nonpartisan. So we will put out just the general information about the election date, contact information, what does it look like. But as far as like the candidates themselves, then that is that is the candidates themselves putting that information. They do have access, though, to collect the master voter data. So that's how they get your information to be able to send you, those flyers, the leaflets, that sort of thing. So it's not something that the Department of Elections is sending out because we're completely nonpartisan. We don't endorse any candidates. We're just here to be of equal service to everybody and provide you the general information. But when it comes to the, certain groups, they are able to request the master voter file, and that's how they get basically the information as far as are you registered with a particular party? Are you of a certain demographic, if you provided that optional information, for example, on your voter registration. So that's how that information is sent to you. Because yes, oftentimes we also hear, "Oh, stop mailing me those things," but that's not within our control. You're only going to get the general information from the Department of Elections. So that, for example, the voter digest, you're going to get that because you're a registered voter, unless you opt out, and we provide you that information.
Wow. Okay. Great information. I know, because people, I was asking about that. I know it's not a lot of questions tonight, but I know people have asked that, and I wanted to make sure that I asked that question for community. But yeah, with that being said, I don't see any questions in the chats. Thank you for coming in today. I think this was a very, very informative, straight to the point presentation. I think that's what we need more and more. Hopefully, community, you are out there. You are ready to get ready to vote. We are 12 days away. We want everybody to have their voices heard. Please get out there and cast your vote, and make sure that your voice is heard. It's very important stuff, especially as we start getting into the later of the month. We're going to be talking about voter suppression here on both sides of the conversation. I mean, these conversations need to happen as across this country. Different states are being impacted when people are passing bills and do things to have your voice not heard. Do your part. Our ancestors have fought so hard for us to have the right to let our voices be heard in the political process. And I know it's a lot of frustration these days with the political process, but we still have to do our part and make sure our voices are heard. So with that being said, Ms. Eve, if there's anything else you want to say, I got your information out there. If somebody want to reach out to you by email, thanks for putting the phone number up there and putting all the information inside of the PowerPoint presentation. But if there's anything else you want to say before we end tonight's show, please let us know gracefully now.
Yes. So, thank you so much for bringing up, what is happening in other places. So, what's important here is that if you want to have a say in the decision process that is being made for you, then why not vote? If you want to really have some say in who these representatives are and what they're proposing, the impacts that it can have on your daily life, what's important is that you participate. So, really, here in San Francisco, we try to make it as accessible, as equitable as possible, so that this opportunity is there for you. What's important there is that if you're interested in having a say in the decisions that are being made for you, then vote.
Yeah, y'all heard it right there. Go out and vote. Do your thing. September the 14th. Get your votes in before 8 p.m. so that your voice can be heard. Thank you again, Eve, for being so gracious to come on and make sure that our community has the information. So many times we miss this part of the education. Sometimes people are misled. Sometimes people are hearing from other people to make their decisions. So it was just nice for you to put that presentation together, straight to the point, and really just educate our community about it. So we want to thank you again for coming on tonight. So with that being said, y'all, another Thursday educational presentation down. We'll have another one next week. This Sunday's conversation, we'll let everybody know in community on Friday evening if we'll be having a conversation. It is a Sunday before a holiday, and some of the guests have already requested to reschedule the date just because of the holiday. So if we get to the point of tomorrow evening, the total body of people are asking us to reschedule, we will, but we will replay the epic conversation we had last Sunday on relationships. And then next Tuesday, we'll get right back into our Hidden Gem segment where we will continue to highlight our Black and brown businesses, as well as uplift those community leaders and organizations that are doing phenomenal things to impact our community. We are so committed to that. We want to make sure that our community know where these businesses are, where these leaders are, so we can connect them with resources and make sure that we patronize those businesses to help uplift them, especially in the Black and brown community, as we are being hit hard with the Delta virus. So much financial impact is happening, and way we can do it as community, come together, support those businesses and uplift them. And then next Thursday, we'll have another educational presentation like tonight. We'll be talking about multiple streams of income, phenomenal guests coming on to talk about how to make money outside of work and how to be sustainable right now in this economy that we're in. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Eve and the Election Department, for so graciously coming on to bless the community with the information. We will all see you all for this Sunday or next Tuesday for sure for our next live broadcast. Be safe out there. Don't forget to vote. There's multiple ways you could do it in San Francisco. Pick one, use the numbers, and get out there and get your voices heard. So with that being said, good evening, everybody. We'll see you for our next live broadcast.